This is a game based on an actual legend. 2 teams will have 4 days and 5 nights to investigate the ghost story that haunts their camp. By day they'll play, by night they'll fight their fight and collect clues to put the ghost behind the ghost story to rest. Scaredy Camp is now in session.
Stay out here.
You guys?
Yeah?
Are you there? You guys are there, right? Was that you, Courtney?
No.
Courtney.
I'm sorry.
Sarah? Yeah? Are you okay? Yeah.
This is a clip from Scaredy Camp, a 2002 horror game show that aired on Nickelodeon Game & Sports, or Nick Gas as it's commonly abbreviated. It's about 2 teams of campers who try to solve the mystery of a spirit haunting the camp. The teams compete in games and challenges that win them clues. These clues help them solve the mystery further of who the spirit is that's haunting the camp, and why. Each episode has a set of day challenges the teams compete in, and the winner of this goes to a night challenge. This night challenge often involves some kind of haunted house or running through a dark forest. These night challenges are the bread and butter of the show. They're usually a bit more elaborate than the day challenges and really encapsulate the premise of the show, being a creepy challenge the kids have to go through to uncover more of the story of the season. However, the technology and resolution of the time doesn't do the show any favors, as a lot of the shots during the night can't really be made out and might as well just be a pitch black screen. My friend has a theory that we used to be able to see extremely low-res things back in the day, but we can't anymore. The best example I can think of to compare this to is when you randomly see someone share like a McDonald's picture that was uploaded to Facebook circa 2010, and it literally looks like 5 pixels. I spent way too long looking for stupid old McDonald's photos, but the photos are amazingly small. Like, I can hardly tell these 2 pixels are supposed to be lettuce, but maybe I would have been able to tell more easily back then. It's the same thing with a lot of these nighttime challenges in Scaredy Camp. I remember them being a lot more visually clear, but I think I pieced together a lot of the missing, pixels in my head. Also, there's a couple other funny photos I found digging through the 2010 pixelated garbage on McDonald's page, and no, I don't have any context for these, and I don't want to know. Anyways, I think this show is a really interesting fusion of genres, combining the competition and extreme sports aspects of shows like Survivor or Amazing Race with a horror twist. The show makes total sense to release when it did in 2002, as extreme games and sports were still pretty popular, and Survivor was one of the most popular shows on all of television at this time. Even if we look at just what was on Nick Game & Sports at this time, it seems like this channel was always playing reruns of Guts, Legends of the Hidden Temple, even shows like Rocket Power all about skating, surfing, rollerblading, so to throw a horror twist on this is a really cool idea. Quick side note, I think Legends of the Hidden Temple is directly or indirectly one of the scariest shows I'd watch as a kid because of the final challenge. Not because it's rigged and predetermined if you can even make it to the end or not beforehand, but because you just squeeze into a tight room and someone pops out and jump scares you.
Down into the pit she's gonna have to go. Of course, she's gonna have to head down into the laser light to reveal the white laser to open up the room.
Like, I would hate to do that. Horror seems like a pretty universal genre that's never really died, so I can't say this aspect is as much a product of the time as the extreme sports, but looking back at cartoons around this time, shows like Courage the Cowardly Dog were super popular, and just about every cartoon of the late 90s, early 2000s had some kind of really creepy episode out of nowhere that really just sticks with you.
And I never liked you. Happiest day of my life is when we stop talking to each other. What did I tell you, short
I think the main reason why I find this show so fascinating is what the campers do and say. The show has a really chill vibe. They don't cut away from the action for interviews of what the campers were thinking in the moment, so we hear a lot of really random, funny things the kids have to say.
There's no snakes in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Florida.
Ew, ew, ew.
I know.
If they find the clue, which they probably won't, but they will if they do, then, you know, they have 1 point ahead of us. So we only have 4 more days, guys. Come on.
I'd also say I'm a big fan of the host, Emma Wilson. She's the daughter of Ann Robinson, the host of The Weakest Link, and she's a pretty interesting host. She's very deadpan and doesn't really egg the kids on or ask them anything. She doesn't play the mean host like her mother either. If anything, she gives off vibes like she's a spirit or something. And while this can be a little dull at times, I think she is really interesting, and I feel like she takes a step back to let the campers take up the spotlight with their funny and odd conversations, which I would say is the highlight of the show for me. Emma's performance as the host leads me to one last point I want to mention before getting into the first episode. The show has interesting justifications for why the campers do what they do, but sometimes other aspects just don't really make sense to me. For example, the day games the teams compete in are designed so that the campers can immerse themselves in what the ghosts did in their final days alive. So, the spirit that haunts the camp in the first season, Dennis, participated in a relay race on day 1 of his final 5 days. So, in what we're about to see at the start of the first episode is a relay race between the two teams. I will say I really like this plot justification for why the teams compete in these games. It's a really nice touch. Maybe I'm just nitpicking and overthinking, but this leads me to wonder about other aspects of the show I wouldn't have given thought to otherwise. Like, who is Emma and why is she hosting a game for children to solve the mystery that haunts the camp? Is she some kind of ghostbuster who then hires kids to rid the camp of spirits? I'm probably thinking about it way too much, so let's get into the story of the first spirit, Dennis. The children of the camp say that they hear noises coming from the reservoir and something that tries to pull them into the water. They believe it's the spirit of Dennis, a camper who had drowned in this reservoir. So, with all of that out of the way, let's meet the two teams trying to solve the mystery of Dennis Williams.
Hey, I'm Carrie. I think we're gonna solve the mystery. I think we're gonna be scared at times.
I'm personally not scared.
Remember this line, it's gonna be important later.
Hi, I'm Danny. I think we're going to kick the girls' team's butt, and we're going to solve that mystery.
I think the girls' team weakness is their endurance and their strength.
Oh, why would you say that? Come on.
When you put me in there, I'll be scared. Hi, I'm Tom. The girls' team is pretty good, but I think we can beat them.
I agree with both of them about the girls' team. If they have something with like spiders or bugs, everyone would probably chicken out and start screaming.
I think the boys' chances of winning are slim to none.
I think the boys have a really good chance, but we have a better chance because we kick butt. I'm on the blue team, and I think that the boys are like too proud of themselves and they think they're gonna win and they're gonna be like really laid back, but I think we're gonna win. I think we have the power and the skills to do it.
I will be very scared because I get scared very easily. Hi, I'm Katie.
Hey, I'm Leia. I'm on the blue team, and I think we have an extremely good chance of winning and a pretty good chance of solving the mystery.
So the two teams compete in a relay race, and this is probably one of my favorite moments in the whole show.
Ready, set.
I think the girls' team weakness is their endurance and their strength.
Come on, Carrie.
Look at Danny run. I feel so bad. He's like holding up his pants the whole time he's running. And look how far behind he is.
I can't walk anymore. She beat me. He beat me. Come on, Katie.
Okay, I swear they totally spliced the show. Look at how she's running. She doesn't even miss a step while running over this beam as if it's flat ground. Yet Danny's walking while holding his pants up, and then he just gives up altogether. But somehow they arrive at almost the same time to the rock wall at the end. They definitely stopped her and said, hey, you gotta wait here for like a minute or two. We can't have her be climbing the wall just by herself because it's kind of boring, so just give a little bit of time and wait. So the girls win the challenge, and she even beats him back down. Like, look at this. She wins up, and she wins back down. So the boys really took a beating today, despite having superior strength, superior stamina, superior everything, according to their interview. So let's see what they have to say about it.
We did good today. Even though we lost, I think we still did good. What do you think?
I can't believe we lost. I think they had some advantages.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't rock climb. You don't swim. And Danny doesn't do. I'm so close.
I really like the sections of the show when they go back to the cabin, because a lot of it is just them kind of reflecting on their day and speculating about the mystery. Oftentimes though, it kind of just turns into just complaining about the day's events and what they did wrong, but you get a lot of funny little dialogue out of it. So whenever a team wins the day game, they're taken to a night game in which they search for clues to help them solve the mystery of the spirit that haunts the camp. These sections are pretty hit or miss, partially due to the content of the games, partially due to, with the resolution and the technology at the time, not really being able to see anything.
Something sounded, something talked in the stall. Something talked in the stall.
Something talked in the stall.
Blue team, you must go back in and finish.
You already know Emma's thinking to herself, shut up and get back in there, we need footage. I'm really grateful that this was uploaded to YouTube because I really can't find the show at all online, but a 2002 show recorded oftentimes at night, plus a 360p upload to YouTube, it's really hard to make out some of these sections, so thank you for bearing with me. Sometimes there's not a whole lot I can say about the night games because of this, but there are some diamonds in the rough. Like, look at this Silent Hill bathtub, it's terrifying, and she's just crying next to it.
Okay, just close your eyes. I'll try, I'm trying to find the plug.
I'll help you, I'm just really scared.
Okay. Are you crying? Okay, wait. We don't have to touch the tub. The drain is out here.
Yeah, there's like a white thing in it. I'm not reaching it.
Okay, I'll reach
it with you.
Okay, we'll reach it together.
That's disgusting.
I know.
It's mud. It smells bad.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
What is it?
I can't tell, and what the look down. It's a trophy.
Look like Dennis Willie,
champion swimmer. Oh my god. Okay.
Pick it up.
So they pull out a trophy, which is the clue of the night. It's a championship swimming trophy that belonged to Dennis. I gotta give props to the girls. They might have been scared, but fortunately they had a psychopath on the team to suggest that they reach into the Silent Hill bathtub together.
Well done, Blue Team. The clue of the swimming trophy is brought to you here, and you're now able to take it back to your bunks and think about what information it brings you to Dennis Williams' disappearance. I'll see you tomorrow.
Episode 2 starts with the two teams doing these trapeze acts. I really don't understand what they're attempting to do, like if it's a certain number of flips, but the boys win, primarily because they didn't trip running to the target. You can see here the blue team is all twisted up, and it looks like this could have gone much worse. The other notable game is a paddleboat race featuring our hero, Danny. The race gets off to a smooth start, but Danny soon veers off course. You can see him throwing his hands in the air in confusion instead of using them to steer the boat. He loses by a lot. But what's even funnier is the show includes a clip of a member of the staff explaining how to steer the damn boat to Danny.
Where's he going?
Put it in the middle and it goes straight.
Yeah, the middle. No, this.
No, the other way.
This?
That's the turn all the way around. That's the
this.
middle.
No, it isn't, because then I go to there.
That's why it's not working.
The teams go back to their cabins to open the potential clues, and the boys are the only team to get a clue, which is a book on frog care. I think about this following interaction a lot.
From or something, congratulations, this is your clue. Yes. So his friend is a frog.
This is the clue. Alright, so we know his best friend is learning about frogs, or...
His best friend is probably a frog, because if Emma said that the item he requested was for his best friend.
What would a frog mean to learn about a frog?
This is definitely one of the more memorable challenges to me. The boys are diving into a pool to grab potential keys that can open this chest. This challenge is happening at night in the fall, so I'm sure the water is freezing. Like, look at Danny. There's some kind of figure in the pool that scares them. I thought I had seen the figure before, but I really can't tell anymore, especially with how low the resolution is.
Hopefully it's not a dead body.
Hopefully it's not an alive body, Danny. Danny refuses to jump in after the first time, and you can tell the team is getting increasingly annoyed with him.
Who wants his grandma without her jacket?
Carry you first.
Where can you go?
I'm sorry.
The boys eventually get the correct key and read their clue, which is a postcard from Dennis's brother, whose name is David. In this old letter, David says he's coming to camp to check on Dennis. David writes some interesting things like, won't they be surprised, and maybe they won't even notice. These will make sense later on.
His mom told me to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, it sounds like this kid was, if Dennis was 12, it sounds like maybe a 20-year-old brother or something around that age.
I don't know why you would assume the brother is 8 years older than him, but this is what I mean when I say the dialogue is just so fascinating in this show.
I know I did not really much, but I helped out.
Let's go back to our room.
We got it, let's go.
Oh, we did it.
Episode 3 starts with a water balloon challenge where they have to slingshot these water balloons into a circle while the opposing team tries to catch these water balloons, preventing the other team from scoring. As you may be able to see, it's nearly impossible to catch these water balloons without them popping. The boys win, which means they're going to the night challenge. It's a little disappointing how short the day challenge is in this episode. Both episodes beforehand had 3 segments, whether it be the relay race or the 3 different care packages, so this one's pretty short and pretty disappointing. On the other hand, this means we get a big night episode, and this is probably the best of the whole series. As per usual, the boys get blindfolded and taken away in a van. Anyways, on the way over, the boys talk about who will enter the scary house first.
He's going first though, because we went in the pool yesterday and he did. Yeah. He wants to do
I'm not going first, I'm going first.
I'll go second, but just not first.
But I really don't want to go first, and I know Carrie should go first. I know this is kind of mean to Tom, but would you be willing to go first?
You should go first too.
Dude, I don't want to go in the building.
After all this arguing, Carrie actually ends up going in first. I will say I would definitely be scared. Hell, I'm still scared to go in, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I couldn't do this.
I think Tom's gonna get it.
I'm sorry, but we would probably have a better chance of forfeiting.
A better chance of forfeiting than what, Danny? Winning? Danny tries to convince the team to forfeit the night game, suggesting that they could just simply win tomorrow. But Carrie and Tom have worked hard to get most of the clues out of the way. All they're asking Danny to do is simply walk in the house so the team doesn't get disqualified.
Danny, you must go through one of those doors, otherwise you forfeit the clue.
Let's discuss this.
Can I please?
Yeah.
Can you please listen?
Yes.
You said if we did forfeit, we would have to win tomorrow.
Yes, but we almost got it.
Yeah, Danny.
Come on.
We know where all the rooms are.
We almost have this.
Can't.
He eventually goes in the house and actually finds a key. I'd love to show footage of it, but all we have is a completely green screen or a close-up of Danny's face, so we're all gonna have to use our imagination for what actually happened here. Carrie goes in to hopefully finish this night challenge, and here's what Danny has to say.
Girls would have probably given up by now.
Real classy Danny. After you refuse to go in and were literally forced to, you take a jab at the girls. Also, Leah was happy to stick her arms in a bathtub full of whatever while her teammate cried next to her, so I'm gonna have to disagree with this. Carrie grabs the clue, which is a mannequin, and it's really funny and creepy, but the resolution is so bad that I really can't add much to this. Just know that it was kinda creepy, but also kinda funny. So this clue is a dummy of Dennis and his diary. The diary just says Dennis has a plan and that the others don't know of his plan. The others in this case would be the other campers that have been messing with Dennis so far. They presume this means Dennis's plan is to run away, but we'll just have to keep watching to find out. Episode 4 starts with the teams picking 2 people for a day challenge and the last member for the night challenge. Danny has proven he is too scared to do the night challenges, so why on earth do you pick him to be the night game person, especially by himself? He probably would have loved to play the day game, which is just remembering the items under the buckets, but he wants to prove himself. There's really nothing I can say about this matching games besides that the girls have won. Meanwhile, the girls laugh about how the boys chose the most scared camper to do the night challenge, and how Danny is just going because he wants to prove himself.
Like, I just heard that he was like really scared.
They really made a really bad choice putting Danny.
No, it was Danny's choice because he wanted to like prove to the world that he's not scared.
But he won't be scared, so I really do think we can beat them. Against Danny, the scaredest boy? Yeah, I think so.
I agree with everything the girls have to say here, but fortunately for Danny, the night challenge isn't very scary. So they get into boats and look for clues on the lake, and this lasts for 8 minutes. I can hardly see anything, and even if I could, it's not terribly interesting. They're just paddling on boats and picking up random clues, and hoping that they're actual clues and not just fake traps. It's really just a look at the draw, and doesn't really have much skill involved at all.
Clue, Danny.
Unfortunately, our hero Danny loses this luck of the draw, and Alethea wins, letting the girls move on to the final night challenge. Despite Danny losing as always, he comes back to the cabin with maybe his worst moment of the series.
We won the loss.
What?
We won the loss. Wasn't really as much of skill as just luck of the draw.
What happened?
Why would you say this, Danny? Why would you get their hopes up just to let them down one final time? The boys reflect on the events of the camp, and they're confident the girls will succeed as they say that they've pulled through every time before. It's a nice little wholesome moment and a nice touch overall for the boys' run. The girls celebrate their victory and examine their final clue, a taped message to Dennis from his bunkmates.
I love you. Wait, press play.
Molly?
Hey Dennis, your little green girlfriend is homesick. We're gonna do what you should have done a long time ago and send her back where she belongs. If you wanna say goodbye, meet us at the reservoir tank tonight.
They set the frog free. It's a frog. Your little green girl. You're so smart. They said by the reservoir. They set the frog free. That's what they did.
Maybe he went to go chase it.
That's what.
The girls go into the final night, seeking to tie together all the loose ends of the story of Dennis, the frog, his brother, and the reservoir. Episode 5, the girls' night game, begins with the 2 teams reflecting on how they've competed during the week. Tom says they've argued too much. I think Carrie wanted to be a little more realistic of why they lost.
We didn't lose because of the argument. We lost because of, the mistake.
Carrie wanted to say they lost because of Danny so bad. Speaking of Danny, here are his final thoughts.
I kind of feel like I let my team down when on day 2 with the paddle boat, I was steering it wrong. So I kind of feel like I did let down the team a little bit. Well, it's not really a bad thing that, like, if I am a scared person, because, like, everyone in life has something they're scared of.
The girls' team talk about how they're scared and what they're anticipating. Leah says she'll be the first one to be scared, despite being the one unfazed by the traumatizing bathtub on the first night.
Chicken Tower gets scared. It'll probably first be me. I don't think there's going to be anything that's going to scare me that much. Well, if it scares me, I'm not going to try and show it as much.
The night challenge is a lot of tossing around items and rummaging through stuff.
That's not it either.
I bet there's like a skink out here and it's gonna like spray us.
They eventually find a clue that Dennis has a twin brother named David.
Dennis had a twin? He did.
Dennis and David.
Dennis and David. David is his brother. Okay.
As the girls are running through the woods, they fear they might run into a snake.
There's no snakes in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Florida.
Ew.
I wonder what other crazy things the kids said that didn't make it into the show. I mean, we already have that snakes only live in Florida, which is just funny more than anything. Eventually, they find a life jacket, which has a note that David is in trouble. Not Dennis, the ghost that we've been told about throughout this whole story. The girls make it to the reservoir, completing the night challenge. It's a little bit of an odd spot to end on. You think they'd get to the final clue when Emma pops out of nowhere, but they already got the clue, then run to the reservoir, so it doesn't really connect as well as it could, I feel. I'll let Emma summarize the story for us.
We're now standing on the exact spot that marks the last place that Dennis Williams was ever seen. You have in your hands the final clues that will help you solve the mystery of his disappearance. And it's time for the telling of the tale. We've worked out that it wasn't Dennis, but his brother David who was at the reservoir that night. As you're the winners, you'll be able to have a party later for your entire bunk to celebrate. Now with what we know, let's recount David and Dennis's last fateful night. Dennis's bunkmates were determined to throw Froggy into the reservoir. They thought it would be funny to see Dennis going after him, but it wasn't Dennis. It was his identical twin brother, David, who chased them there that night. Determined to save his brother's pet, David jumped in, even though he couldn't swim. So although you've discovered that it was David, not Dennis, at the reservoir that night, the hauntings still continue, and one question still remains. Will David's restless spirit continue to haunt the waters of Camp Lindenwood until his brother's disappearance is avenged? Scaredy Camp is now closed.
So the prize that the girls get for solving the mystery is a party for their bunk. I don't know, but this just seems really unsatisfying, especially when the host looks at the camera and says, "Is it still haunted? Who knows?" It would be a lot nicer if they at least put the spirit to rest or something. Maybe that was an original intention, but it would be seen as too controversial. Keep in mind this came out in 2002. Things like Pokemon were just getting out of the woods for being demonic witchcraft. A show where they put vengeful spirits of dead children to rest would definitely garner its fair share of controversy. Maybe putting the spirit to rest would acknowledge that the spirit actually does exist more, and just saying that it still might be haunting the camp leaves it more up to speculation. I think the twist of the spirit actually being David and not Dennis is a cool concept, and it does a good job of confusing the girls as they get their final clues. I personally would like it if this impacted the plot a little more or was foreshadowed more. For example, maybe one of the clues like the letter David writes, bringing attention to the fact that Dennis is a great swimmer and David is not, and we wonder as the audience and as the campers why that matters at all. Something like that would be nice, because at the moment, I feel like David might as well not have existed, and the story would have been exactly the same. There just wouldn't be this little switcheroo at the end. The championship swimming trophy that Dennis has may be a clue that it wasn't Dennis that drowned and that it was actually someone else, in this case being his brother. Because he's a champion swimmer, it'd be much harder for him to drown. but I think the clue is more so just suggesting that water was involved with the death or the spirit, so it's hard to say for me. The highlight of this season is definitely Danny. There's always something funny happening when he's on screen, but all the campers have funny lines. I think the first season is pretty weak on the night games, but the next season/story definitely throws much more at the new campers.
You guys are there, right? Was that you, Courtney?
I'm sorry.
Let's jump into the second and final story from Scaredy Camp and meet our new set of teams. So this is our second and final season of Scaredy Camp, so let's hear the premise of the spirit that haunts this season of camp.
Our story begins with one of those very campers and the happy years she spent here. Blessed with good looks and popularity, Sally loved and was loved by Silver Lake and came back year after year, first as a camper, then as a counselor. But although her blessings seemed many and plentiful, the curse that was to befall Sally and the camp proved even more powerful. Today, 6 campers will embark on a mission to solve the mystery of what really happened to Sally. Is it her ghost that haunts this once serene place? Can they help the spirit finally rest in peace? Let's meet our teams.
We can go against the boys anytime. My name's Courtney. I'm on the blue team, and I think that the blue team's gonna win because we have so much confidence.
We're not all like girly girls. I mean, like, we're not afraid to get dirty. Hi, I'm Sarah, and I'm on the blue team, and I think that we can beat the red team, which is the boys.
I don't know about any of them, but I'm pretty scared of the dark.
Hi, I'm Liza. I'm on the blue team, and I think our chances of winning are very good.
I think the scariest thing that I'm going to have to do is maybe hold a water bug.
Holding a water bug might be the most random thing I could think of, but I guess it would be creepy. I can't follow her. And you know what time it is now? It's time for the boys rule, girls drool section of the show.
I'm Zach. I'm on the red team. I think that we have a really strong team.
Anything they can do, we can do better.
I'm Mark. I'm on the red team, and I think we're gonna find out who haunts these woods.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I'm on the red team, and I think we're gonna beat the blue team because we're stronger and smarter.
They get scared of like a fly flying around their head, but they're gonna check it out. I mean, I don't think we're gonna have much problem there.
The boys team is very, they all look and act the same. Tyler kind of looks like Nathan Fielder if Nathan was ever a child, but I think I confuse these 3 campers a lot since they're really similar in every way. Emma talks about how the campers have heard scratching on their doors or bloody daisies on their pillows. It's just like, God, this Nickelodeon show is talking about campers having bloody flowers on their pillows. I don't know, it's just a little bit funny. Some of the only reviews I can find throughout the internet from this show are just people saying that this show basically traumatized them as a kid, but they loved it. And I can totally see this. I think the show is pretty interesting, but I think it's also pretty intense how far they go in some of these stories. So the introductory challenge is teams need to build a boat to grab the flag out of the middle of the lake. I gotta say, this looks pretty hard. The girls take their time tying down all the planks of wood for their raft, which pressures the boys to rush into the water.
Where's the third tire? Huh. What's it doing over there?
I have no idea.
I got it. It's okay.
No, it's not.
It is.
Tie it quickly.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go. What? Hit the other side. Come on. That's not good, guys.
Unfortunately, both teams' rafts sink and they are called back to rebuild their rafts.
Blue team and red team, you have to come back.
Once again, the boys are off to a terrible start.
What? Look at it. It's ours, gentlemen.
I feel like the teams did the same exact thing here as they did the first time, but I just think she didn't want to call them back. I think she knows it's gonna happen regardless of how many times they try, so she might as well let them just swim out, I guess.
Are you? That would be mean to us. Abandoned shipwreck.
So the girls win the day challenge with their neatly built raft. The boys team, once again, is off to a terrible start to the season. The boys go back to their cabin to reflect the events of the day, and we get some more interesting quotes.
We had too much excitement.
Yeah, and then you're like, abandoned shipwreck.
No,
What did
but
we do?
They worked just as hard as us, but they remembered to tie everything together.
This stinks. I mean, they're getting a clue and we're like behind. If they find the clue, which they probably won't, but they will if they do, then, you know, they have 1 point ahead of us. And we only have 4 more days, guys. Come on.
Also, look at how much nicer the girls' room is. They have a rug and lights, which is a little more than you can say about the boys' room, I suppose. So the girls meet up at the campfire that night, and they're told that they'll be looking for a clue that would have made Sally very happy. They're then awkwardly taken away in the van, but this new blue team is hilarious when they're in the van. They always speculate what might happen and get scared, and then tell each other to shut up because they don't want to be scared. They're also wearing these giant cameras that smack into each other from time to time, and it's kind of funny. This night section, as usual, isn't terribly interesting since it's mainly close-ups in nearly pitch black settings, but every now and then you get a hilarious moment.
You guys are there, right? Was that you, Courtney?
Courtney, I'm sorry.
Sarah? Yeah? Are you okay? Yeah.
Hey Sarah, I know we haven't known each other for too long, but are you by any chance the banshee screaming through this forest? So they find a bunch of letters and figure out that there was some kind of secret marriage proposal that happened from someone named Sam proposing to Sally.
Secret proposal is this message you see. Now find the names of the engaged scratch on a tree.
Congratulations, Blue Team. You found your first clue. You can go back to your bunks, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 2.
In episode 2 of this new season, they have to eat gross foods because Sally, the ghost in question, was blamed for some kind of incident at camp and demoted to kitchen duties. They spin the table and eat some gross food, and I will say, if seeing other people eat gross food upsets you, I'd suggest looking away for a moment. Also, consider yourselves lucky I'm talking over the audio here. I hate the sounds of people eating or smacking their food so much. It's just, ugh. I think this challenge is a good example of this show being pretty down to earth, which is good and bad. We get some really funny moments like this.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah. Oh, I know what those are. I like really. Tastes like chicken.
And when I say it's down to earth, I'm mainly referring to the laid-back vibes of this scene. The host doesn't really do much besides serve the food and say, "Time's up, you gotta eat." I think if the show came out in 2022, I feel there would be more antagonizing from the host, or more angles or drama or cutaway interviews of the kids, but at the same time, I think this is what's part of the show's charm. They're just kind of, you know, eating the food and doing their thing. And to me, I think that's what makes the parts so much more funny, like the boy spitting out the food, or the other boy just wanting to get seconds of whatever he ate. This part is absolutely disgusting. I cannot believe they showed this.
Oh, and I can start out
So they have to guess what the food they ate is from this board.
I think my greasy, grimy gopher guts were gefilte fish and sour apple jelly.
Gefilte fish and sour apple jelly?
Dang, that looked good.
So we have gefilte fish, and then we also have matzo balls and cherries. Like, is this Scaredy Camp or Passover? So the girls win this challenge as well. Mostly due to the fact that the girls ate all their food and one of the boys refused to eat his. So the boys only had 2 points, the girls had 3. The car rides are still so funny to me.
Can you guys, like, imagine what you're doing?
No!
Me neither.
I don't want to imagine.
Stop, I'm trying to sleep.
I know, me too, and I don't want to get nightmares, so just I don't know, but like if it's supposed to be scarier and there's no noises, what is there? That's the thing.
Oh, man.
It must be something really scary if it's not a noise.
Courtney makes scary scenarios and the others ask her to stop, and she says, "What? That's not scary."
Alright, if nothing pops out at us, what do you think is the scary part? You know what I think that there's gonna be? I think that there might be like in like statues, like moving eyes.
Oh, stop.
That's not scary though.
Yes, it is.
Because you know it's all the
One
candles.
of those freaky dolls.
Oh, stop. Don't scare me so much.
I know, really, I'm scared now.
So the girls are diving through this dumpster to find body parts, which will eventually lead them to their clue.
Discarded body parts?
Jeez, body parts, that's just nasty.
It's like those because they probably aren't real. So.
I know, but like, what are they then? I don't want to touch that.
It's a brain! No, maybe it's a chicken, I'm not sure.
Let me see, it's not a chicken, it's probably a brain. What the heck? It looks like an octopus. Let me hold it.
Oh, I know what it is. It's like those intestine things.
Oh.
It's the inside. Oh.
They find a hook, which they'll eventually find out is Sally's hook hand, ending tonight's challenge. So far, the only clues we really have are that this man named Sam proposed to Sally, and that Sally had this hook. But this is where the season really starts to pick up. They start this episode with some kind of Mario Party 3 ridiculous relay-like game. And you know, I believe this challenge, just like the first challenge of the series, is rigged. Courtney gets off to a really slow start. It seems like her bike was definitely stuck on the dock or something, and she's moving in place. Also, we don't have any info given of what the trampoline person does, so it's really funny seeing the girl run to the other side and then do a couple front flips first, like she's just styling on them. The last part is a rock climb, and the girls end with a time of 2 minutes and 9 seconds. But what if this run could be broken? The boys instantly get off to a faster start, but disaster strikes. He keeps falling off the bike, and look at when he passes the baton to his teammate. He's even falling into the water here too. We can see the red team is using a speedrun strat here, often not used in marathon runs, but they're landing their front flips on their feet. While risky, is saving them a lot of time in the long run. The only section left for the boys is the rock climb, a section that's killed many runs in the past. The boys end with a shocking time.
Congratulations, Red Team. You've won by 1 second.
2 minutes and 8 seconds.
Both teams will go back to your bunks now. I will see you by campfire at 9 p.m.
I legitimately believe these times are not what happened, but they needed to give the boys a night challenge. Maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist here, but in the first season, seeing how close the boys team was in the relay race after getting just absolutely dusted in all 3 sections, I just don't believe anything the show kind of says in the challenges after that. However, the night challenge is so boring and so nothing. Even the boys winning, they don't really know that they've won. The host just pops out from behind a tree and says that you've won and go back to your cabin.
Yeah, we're coming to get you.
I can move.
Look over there. There's some more of the stuff that I...
I found bloody tissues and...
We saw sound. Oh, we saw something. A whitish figure.
Dude, I don't know, but it looks like
There's that white thing over there.
I don't know. Yo, what is that?
Congratulations, Red Team. You found your first clue. You may take it back to your bunks and have a think about it. I will see you tomorrow for day 4.
The clue is a note about how Sally's wedding was cancelled, so they speculate that it's because she died. With that being said, let's move on. So episode 4 of the new season is the second to last episode of this story, so like with the first set of campers, they split off into 2 campers in a day challenge and 1 to do the night challenge. The girls pretty easily choose Courtney to do the night challenge since she's great at solving the puzzles and is so smart, they say. The boys seem to all want to do the challenge though and keep arguing about who should do the night game.
Dude, I really want to go.
Yeah, but so do I, dude.
I know, you want to go too, but I also want to go. But
Okay. Red team.
no decision.
You have to make a decision.
I want to go.
Zach's going. If you both go back to your bunks now, I will see you both by the campfire tonight at 11 p.m.
So the day challenge is one teammate is blindfolded while their partner tries to guide them in the direction to grab a specific item from the field. The boys shout left and right to help each other, but the girls are really bad at this.
One straight. Bend over.
No. Keep going, Tyler, faster. Bend down. Tyler, bend down. Oh, Tyler, head forward. Step over her, Tyler.
Right there.
Tyler.
Turn around.
No, bend.
Right there.
Hit it. Tyler, bend that gate. Right there. No, to your left, Tyler. Bend down. No, turn around.
Go straight.
Stay on the ground, forward. Use your hands.
No, right there.
The girls are eventually down 6-0, but Sarah decides to approach this like a football player. She tackles the boy and dives on the item like a fumble. And look how she runs into this tent.
Forward. Go right. Go left. Right. Yeah. No, the other way. Right there. Run. Just run.
Right, Tyler.
Just run. There you go. You got it.
Blue team wins the item. Reset.
She's basically set up by her teammate who says, just run. Yeah, just run into this tent. This is like a hitting drill.
Left.
Red team wins the final item. You may take your blindfolds off.
Left is left. How could they have left? I am going. No, you're going
Red team, blue team.
because you keep changing it every time.
Another really weird decision the show makes is asking the campers to bring one of the items from this day challenge to the night game with them. It's not a bad concept, but all the items are useless. The kids don't know where they're going or how long they'll be there, so the fact that they can bring a raft or a tent leads both teams to believe that they may stay overnight, but they don't. The challenge isn't particularly long, probably a little over an hour. But the boys grab a raft and the girls grab a tent. Courtney's very scared to be alone in the night challenge. I felt it was pretty obvious she would be the only person, but she's really upset her teammates aren't there. We do get this funny interaction.
Do we really have to be like alone?
Yep.
No, I didn't know that. If I'd known, I would have let one of them go. I think she's gonna forfeit. Courtney, you don't have to do this. You can just forfeit now. Shut up.
So the night challenge happens, and it's just running around looking for clues. The first clue is finding a rock with the 13th letter of the alphabet on it, which Courtney finds, and then the clue tells them to run to a house of the dead for the next clue. Courtney runs in a completely opposite direction and is never seen again. Until the challenge is over, of course. Zach gets to the house and finds the second clue, and spends the remainder of the challenge searching for the third clue, getting himself a bit lost as well. So pretty much both campers are just lost, running around in the dark woods until it's over, and as a result, the blue team has 3 clues overall, and the boys only have 2. So the girls move on to the final night challenge. The girls are so happy to win. It's so wholesome. I don't know.
I'm just coming here to tell you that we won. And we're going up to the 5th night. And our score is 3-2.
Remember the items they took to that night challenge with them? Yeah, they were pretty pointless. They didn't need the raft, and they didn't need the tent. But what's even funnier is they asked Courtney how the tent came in handy during the challenge. Not only was it useless, Courtney had no idea what they were even talking about.
Oh, was the tent useful?
Oh, yeah. Was the tent? Yeah.
Huh?
The tent.
Oh, I didn't take it. I was like, I don't need it. Like,
Did
it was
you
a
need
tent. What was I gonna do? Like, it was basically a field.
Yeah, of course she didn't lug the tent around with her. She's running around flipping over rocks and trying to find this house. that tent would not have done anything. It's a 1-hour game, not an overnight challenge. I do wonder if this was supposed to be a bigger challenge at first and it changed, because even me knowing what the challenge is after it happened, I still don't really know what item could have helped them here. So we now approach the conclusion of the story of Sally and of Scaredy Camp as a whole.
I think I'm definitely going to be scared tonight. Whether I show it or not depends how scary it is.
I'm pretty scared to go in the Night 5 game.
I think we're most likely going to be alone because it's more scary to be alone.
I definitely think that I'm going to be scared.
To the blue team, congratulations. We were just catching up. Solve a mystery.
The night game starts with Courtney alone in a room, and the ghost keeps saying Courtney, which freaks her out right off the bat.
Stand alone to the Snake Valley fled. Reach out your hand for a clue under the bed. Oh, I hate that! No, I don't see a bed! I don't see a bed! Oh, I do now!
Sam, this is my M from last night. It looks like a hole in your stuffing.
Oh my gosh, that's a graveyard?
Yeah, we're in a graveyard. That's what we're
shovel.
shovel.
Completing your task, you can heal the ghost's hurt, reunite the lost loves who are covered in dirt.
Ew. Call the spirit by name, bury the clues in the tomb, free the ghosts, and banish Sally's shame.
Okay, rearrange the
Should we-
headstones. We did that already. We put the M.
Wait, that's not.
Yeah, that probably is.
Call the spirits by name.
Sally and Sam.
Sally and Sam. Whoa, it's freaking.
Somebody's breathing.
Jeez. Sally, Sam. Let's just say that right now.
Sally and Sam. Sally and Sam. Sally and Sam.
Well done, blue team. You've successfully reunited the lovers and hopefully allowed the ghost to rest in peace. It's now time for you to get the chance to tell the story of Sally from all the information you've gathered over the last 5 days.
Why is she standing like this? Why is she posed like this? So the girls get all the final clues and piece together the full story of what happened to Sally. It seems that she accidentally cut off her hand while on kitchen duty, and her fiance Sam still loved her, but their wedding was cancelled. Sam still loves Sally, whether she has one hand or two. The point of this challenge was to reunite Sally with her hand and to Sam, which they've done successfully.
You've solved the mystery and won a party for your entire bunk. So, by reuniting Sally with her lost hand and lost love Sam, you have hopefully succeeded in freeing the ghosts from the ties that bound them to their earthly misery. Will Sally and Sam live happily in the ever after? Or have they grown overly fond of haunting Camp Silver Lake? Only time will tell. Scaredy Camp is now closed.
They don't mention how either Sam or Sally passed away, though it seems the most common theory is that Sally at least killed herself based on the evidence. Obviously they can't say this on a kid show, but when they don't say anything, it almost makes it worse. It's heavy content for a kid's show to include any kind of death and spirits like this, but it does make for a fun, spooky show when you get past, I guess, the causes of death. Overall, I do think this conclusion is a lot more satisfying than the first story, because even though they still do the same thing of, hey, you get a party, do the ghosts still haunt this place? I don't know. They at least have made progress where you reunited Sally and Sam. So I guess at least they've made a productive action here. This story does have similar flaws with the first story that we saw in Scaredy Camp. the night challenges being a little bit hard to follow and a little bit dull at times. It's hard to break a lot of aspects of the show into pros and cons, because I think a lot of my issues with the show, such as the dull moments and bad pacing, are also part of what give us really funny lines and a pretty chill but spooky vibe. I'd love to see a show like this come back. With modern technology, we'd be able to see much more, especially during the night games. And I think creepy stories are more popular than ever at the moment, with games like Five Nights at Freddy's or Poppy Playtime. And although not as popular anymore, things like creepypastas would definitely encourage the overarching scary mysteries and the spirits of the week that haunt the camp. I'd say if you're interested, you should give this show a watch. There's plenty of funny little moments that I didn't include because the campers are always saying some kind of funny, odd thing to each other. Let me know what you think of this video. I don't want to ask any kind of forced question or anything, but if you liked a certain camper or had a preference of which story you liked more, I'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. Danny is definitely the GOAT camper for me, being scared of everything, hardly participating, and still talking smack the whole time.
Girls would have probably given up by now.
If it weren't for Danny, I would say my favorite camper is Courtney. I think she was really funny. Similar to Danny, she got scared of everything, but also I think like the van sections when they were on their way to the night challenges, she was always really funny because she would always be telling something scary and then saying it's not scary, or then getting mad at anyone else when they said anything remotely scary.
Alright, if nothing pops out at us, what do you think is the scary part? You know what I think that there's gonna be? I think that there might be like in like statues, like moving eyes. Oh, stop. That's not scary though.
Initially, I would have said that I liked the first story more with the twin brothers and the frog, because I thought it was a nice plot twist, and I thought that the clues were really nicely spread out and whatnot. I think there's a lot more interesting speculation of what happened to him and what happened regarding the reservoir. I think it's more nicely set up than Sally has a hook hand and she was supposed to get married, and that's kind of all we know for most of the story. And pretty much even still in the end, that's all we kind of know. I do think Sally's story is stronger in its conclusion, since the campers did reunite Sam and Sally's spirits, which is a lot nicer of a conclusion than Dennis, or rather David's story, since the conclusion of that was just he's still probably gonna haunt the camp, but you know the story. Whereas with Sam and Sally, at least if they're still gonna haunt the camp, they can do it together now. I don't know. The last thing I have to say about Sally's story is I don't feel like losing a hand would deter too many people from getting married, especially if they're already engaged. So like, it's romantic enough, I guess, but I don't find it terribly shocking or anything in terms of the romance aspect to the story. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. You know, it's a really fun show, has a lot of funny moments, whether it be intentional or not. I would say it's definitely one of the more obscure shows, whether it be from Nickelodeon Gas or just in general. I really like the concept of a horror game show, and I'd love to see something like this again in the future.